What's going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dusty, and as always, this is the Shred Academy. Today's episode, we're gonna cover one of those parking lot skills, but it's something that's gonna help you on the trail: wheelies. I do not claim to be the best at this at all. I actually think I'm not that great, but I understand the mechanics. So we're gonna use a little side view and some first-person view to break down the approach, the form, speed, and how you should initiate a wheelie. Hopefully I'll get a little better. All it takes is a little practice, so if you're not good, don't give up. A few tips to help set us up for success to learn to wheelie. First thing we're going to talk about is our seat. I like to, when I wheelie I like to put my seat all the way up and then just drop it a little bit, because that also gives me a little more room to just comfortably hop off the back if I need to. Second thing we're going to talk about is gear selection. As we're rolling at a slow to moderate pace, when we take our first pedal stroke, we want that pedal stroke to be somewhat easy and with enough torque to kind of lift the front of the bike. So you don't want to be in a super hard gear that's just going to gain you momentum, and you don't want to be in a super easy gear that you're just going to be spinning to win.
To continue our small discussion on gear selection, the gear selection is going to be important with how fast you're rolling, and that gear is going to either create a lot of momentum or it's going to be light enough or it actually creates a lot of torque and the front wheel starts to lift. So our pedal position is important on getting that initial wheel lift. And as I come into frame here, I'm just coasting. Right now as well, I have my seat just squatted a little bit. You can kind of see that I have a bent leg there. That's going to help us dismount if I go too high on the wheelie and have to step off the back, in which we're going to cover shortly here. But it's important to note my pedal position. Notice that I'm not straight up and down. That's because being back just a little bit like this gives me a little more time to create motion on this first downstroke of my pedal stroke. Downstroke of your pedal stroke. That made a lot of sense. This stroke right here is what's going to create initially this front wheel lift, along with some body form, which we'll get to here shortly. But it's this first stroke that's going to cause this to come up. Now you can either continue with pedal strokes and your wheelie will continue forward, or you can take that one stroke, have the front wheel lift, and then just have it fall so you feel comfortable with that initial wheel lift, which we'll kind of get to here shortly. But we'll just go forward slowly here. Now watch as I take this pedal stroke, and that's where my body movement starts to happen. A good forceful downstroke is going to help that front wheel rise. Now from here, I could stop pedaling and let that front wheel fall just to get comfortable with body position. So let's skip ahead a little bit, and I'd like to teach you guys how to step off the back of the bike before we start putting any pedal strokes in, just so we can stay safe as possible.
Always make sure that finger is covering that rear brake, because that's your main thing stopping you from going over backwards. As well as I suggest doing this in flats. As I don't have a clip of me going over backwards clipped in, I can assure you it's happened. Super important to learn to step off the back of the bike. In case you get the bike up too far, you can be really safe to step off the back as long as you're not going too slow or too fast. So to practice that, get in a nice easy gear, kind of be able to stand over your seat, pedal, and that's going to give you kind of the motion of stepping off. So you want to step off onto more or less your dominant foot. Okay, so now I'm going to do a few slow rolling. I'm going to get into the easiest gear and practice just getting that wheel super high and stepping off the back. Do that again so you guys can see the foot. Right? Quick interjection. That white board is where I'm going to start all my wheelies, so I have a gauge of distance. of how far I'm going and I'm not just starting in a random position. Also, I'm gonna film from the side view, and I'm also gonna throw my chesty on so you can get 2 points of view. All right, now we're done. As always, we're gonna start with approach, and we wanna approach this in a nice, slow fashion. Because once we get the wheelie and we start to pedal through it, we don't wanna be speeding up so fast because we're not used to it yet. So let's show you what kind of speed we should have, and hopefully we'll have an okay wheelie. Not so great. Okay, I think that was the right speed. Let's show you too fast and too slow. Okay, now that we've talked about speed, what's the right speed for learning, what's too fast, and what's just too slow, let's talk about our form. Get a good one here. Yeah. Let's get a good one here.
Moving on to some body form as well as timing. As I come into the screen here, notice I'm just relaxed. I have my arms slightly bent. My feet and pedal position are ready for that power stroke. Now, as I continue forward and almost come up to the line where I plan on starting my wheelie, my first movement is going to be a slight upper body preload, just bringing my upper body back so that I can kind of start the momentum backwards again. But be careful not to bring your chest all the way down to the bars. There isn't a need to get that much forward momentum to get proper backwards momentum. So we'll see here as I go in, I almost just go to 90 degrees with my elbows. And then as soon as I enter my preload, I'm going to smoothly exit it. I'm not going to stay hunched down here, rolling forward. So as I start to bring my upper body back, at the same time, I'm going to start my my power stroke with my most powerful leg. So as we go through here, as I always say, okay, started that. Notice the power stroke and my upper body move shifting back at the same time. Now at this point, you basically want to center yourself over that rear axle, and this is going to be your whole balance point. So getting yourself to at least this point is very important. Making sure that you're looking ahead. Don't look down at your front tire. That's just going to make anticipating where you have to go that much harder. As well, if you're looking down at your tire, like I say, it's going to cause you to squiggle. So make sure you're looking out at least 10 feet and where you want to go. If you haven't dialed in just this initial wheel lift, I also think this is a good time just to practice doing one pedal stroke forward and now letting that wheel fall, just getting used to having your body right here before you start taking continuous pedal strokes and moving forward. Once you've got yourself comfortable with getting that initial wheel lift, we're going to be able to use our upper body to at least lean a little back or maybe slightly forward, but I don't suggest forward very much because that brings all this weight over the front end. So you're either gonna kind of go back from here or bring yourself right back. So as I go through this, you'll notice that I'm just taking my pedal strokes, trying to keep that wheel at a level spot. I start to get a little bit high here. And if I go back to a normal speed, let's play through. I have to use a little brake control right here. Did you notice my pedaling slowing down there? Oh, hold on. So right here, if I go through, you'll notice my pedaling slow down right there. You can also use your amount of like the force of your pedaling and slowing that pedaling down to help keep that tire at its, perfect point and your perfect balance point over that axle. Now let's scoot on ahead next to that next view, because you kind of get the first person view of here. Now, notice I feather the brakes a little bit coming up. You want to be at that comfortable speed, but not coming to a stop. You're going to see my upper body preload, and then straight away, I'm doing both. I'm doing that power stroke and bringing my upper body back and straightening these arms. Pro tip, don't over grip the bars. I'm going to clear this out. Just take a look at my hands right now. Notice how loose they are on the grips. My thumbs aren't necessarily even wrapping around. And as I go up, look, they're still kind of just hanging out there because all those other 3 fingers here are what's keeping me from going off the back. The meat hook is sheerly from keeping you going forward on the bike. Now, I'm going to continue those pedal strokes. Okay, I get a little tall here. Watch my finger feather the brakes right. Hold on. Rear brake right here. Right, and that's what brings that front end down. So it's just a little feather, and you can also see me turning my bars from side to side a little bit to try to keep me centered over the bike and keep the bike in its right line. As well as you can move your hips around, scoot back. You can kind of move your hips around on the saddle a little bit to try to keep that bike, upright underneath of you from falling over. But again, as I go through this one, I get all my pedal strokes in. It's a pretty good one, but then it falls, and notice I start to go side to side. This is a good time to set her down. There's always the next wheelie. A little bit of practice goes a long way. So we set it down here, and we go on for the next one. I do think that was one of my better wheelies of the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at some bad body position, and we'll see what's going to happen there.
Let's show you guys what happens when you lean too far forward. This upper body chest position is so important, not only in wheelies, but in bunny hops and jumps. It's a good way to practice being comfortable with that chest back there. Well, everybody, that's gonna do it for our wheelie video. I hope you found it enjoyable, maybe learned a few things. If you did, make sure to comment and always like, share, and subscribe. We just took about 5 to 10 minutes and worked on our wheelies. We felt pretty good about them, but practice will always make you better. So practice, practice, practice. If you'd like to support the channel, we have our Patreon link down. We'd love your support. We also have our raffle for our US Open jersey signed by UCI Pro Downhill Athletes. The link for that is below. That's all gonna help me get through the winter, as well as we're trying to head south to get involved in the efforts to clean up some of the trails that were affected by the hurricane. So if you'd like to support me going down there to help with that, you can either use my PayPal link or the betterworld.org. There's a donation link there. Just make sure you leave a note that says those funds are for me to go to Florida. Otherwise, all the money you guys give me basically goes to me paying my bills so I can continue creating this content. So if you have a company that you'd like to share in the channel, I'm also looking for 2 sponsors. We'd love to shout out your channel, make a little advertisement, or your company rather. Hit me up, email link below. So as always, ride hard, ride safe, be kind to each other. We're all in this together.